Come in, man. What's going on? No, just let me know when you see people start coming in. Make sure that that's not. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This your boy, man. What's up? This your boy, Surrender, man. Coming back at you guys. As you guys can see the title, we're talking about the traditional African diet versus the modern day diet of excess. All right. And I think that this is just a real important message to get out. So I wanted to kind of go live and do this. So I may be looking different ways because I'm live Facebook and YouTube. So for all of you guys that are subscribing on YouTube, I appreciate the family. For all my Facebook friends and family, I appreciate you for tuning in. I try to make this quick, but I definitely wanted to shed light on the subject matter. So what you see behind me is just a few things, and we'll get to the board here in a second. But I also just want to talk about just how important it is for us to have a particular diet model. I think that culturally, we have been missing our heritage when it comes to our foods. And then also to not only that, but I also to believe that we have been eating some of the foods that we don't know that we've been eating from our ancestors anyway. You know, things like greens and yams and things of that nature that we've been eating throughout the course of years and I mean thousands of years. So it's important to understand and to celebrate our foods and what we bring to the culture. And it's also too important for us to also maintain certain aspects of our food because honestly, we used our food as medicine. So not only did we eat right, but we also knew that in eating the way that we did, it would allow us to maintain optimal health. And that's why I wanted to kind of go live today and really bring the importance of the awareness of some type of dietary plan. All right. And so today we're just going to talk about the traditional African diet versus the modern day diet of excess. All right. And then see how we can kind of comprise and get our things back in order, especially as an African people. And maybe we can adopt this to where when we go to the doctor, we can begin to have some kind of model for them to prescribe us things based on what we're used to and accustomed to. Okay. Things that will heal us. Okay. And so hopefully this can not only help us as individuals, but in our households. Maybe it can help spread the word to health professionals out there that can kind of come up with some idea of how to model the African American diet that benefits us as a biochemical, biomineral, bio everything that we have in us that benefits us as a people. And I think that's just important. So some of the things I wanted to just touch on is also too talking about traditionally how we used to eat when you're talking about Africa. Africa, we know, is one continent, and we know how we spread it as a diaspora over to America, South America. You got a lot of us in the Caribbeans, and so for that matter, what I'm trying to say is it's ironic that even though we spread, we still took culture with us, and not only did we take the food, but we took the music, we took the dancing, we took the fellowship as well. And that's why you see a lot of still remnants of that lifestyle still here when you're talking and when you're looking at some of the churches. All right, and how we used to do things. So it's important to fellowship. A healthy lifestyle is important to an aspect of a diet. All right, too much of something is always going to burn you, but too less of something would do the same. Okay, so it's important to understand the balance that we had even back then as a people. So some of the commonalities, even though we spread apart, in Africa, they used to go by a soup, rice and bean, and either a chicken or seafood diet. Well, if you move to South America, it's the same thing. So you're looking at in Africa, they used to eat things like peanut soup, right? Things like jollof rice and chicken yassa and all these things, right? Then you're looking at South America with the vegetables and rice soup. Okay, then they may come in with the red beans and rice. You know what I mean? And then you're looking at the Caribbean, they may come in with the black beans and rice, right? And with the red snapper. So as you can see, we no matter how we spread, if you look at the consistency of it, it was soup, rice and beans, and then either a chicken or seafood for dinner. And even if you think about that aspect, how often are we eating soups? You know, and when I'm talking rice, I'm talking whole grain. I'm talking wild rice. All right, brown rice. Okay, so we got to know some of the things that we need to look for when we're looking in the grocery store. And the good thing about that is, I will try to let everybody know that we're going to have a grocery list of the African diet, so that you can have a list, so you can go in the grocery store and begin to start looking at for some of these items in the fruit section, in the grain section, in the in the bread section, what to look for when you're going into the grocery store. So anybody that really wants one of those lists, please say yes in the comment box, or leave your information and we'll get it to you. It's free of charge, but at least you'll have something of reference to be able to go in and now start looking for, instead of potatoes, you may eat a yuca. All right, or at least start trying a yuca. Or instead of using garlic, learn how to eat with ginger. Okay, you see what I'm trying to say? Instead of eating pomegranates, maybe try dragon fruit. Try to get into some other things that really could help us in our dietary plan. So what I got behind us is the traditional African diet versus the modern diet of excess. And first I want to start on the modern diet of excess. So we got over here sodium. And we know that most of our foods are packed with sodium, man. Sodium, sodium, sodium. And not only is it packed with sodium, but we eating it at a high rate, and while it's packed in a high content. And that's just not good for the African body. High sodium is not good for the African body. All of this particular model has made 40% of us have diabetes. Black men are more at the rate of prostate cancer because of this diet right here. Okay, you got us, over 50% of us are obese, and at least 40% of the black men. Come on, man. Okay, and you're talking about heart disease at an all-time high because of this diet here. This diet here. Sodium, high sugars. What's going on with people? Love y'all. Sodium, high sugars, fast food. Fast food, we already know we got to stay away from the fast food. Start looking for real food. Even if you need to go out and look for food, find real food, folk. Find real food, people. Find real food, even if you're going out. Unhealthy fats. Now, what are some of the unhealthy fats? I hope y'all know vegetable oil, canola oil, all right? Those oils are not as healthy for the black body as you would think. So now I touch on sedentary lifestyle, but a lot of us are sitting around just watching TV, on the smartphones, playing video games. And it's not a bad thing. Our lifestyles has handicapped us. Our blessed life has handicapped us, right? And now we're sitting around all the time. And so you're living sedentary lifestyles all the time while we're eating this modern diet of excess. All right, so it's real simple. Now you say, well, did we eat that back then? Yeah, but look at how and understand why. And we were structured in what we delivered in what we ate. We ate sweets, but it was occasionally, and it was most of the time in a celebratory fashion. So what I'm saying is that yes, it's okay to eat sweets on an occasion. Because what happens is when you eat sweets on an occasion, you keep all your glucose levels low. But it's okay to have pleasure. So you keep your levels low and your pleasure high when you eat sweets on an occasional basis. Dairy, we ate non-lactose. Poultry, eggs, and meat. Most of the time, we ate these in small amounts. And we use meats most of the time as flavoring. Now, everybody know that we'll cook some greens, some beans with some meat in it, right? Where did you get that from? The traditional African diet. But what we did was, instead of understanding that that may have been the meat, you add another piece of meat. So what's the recommended dose of meat if you really want to ask, okay, you really want to eat meat? We suggest you eat at least 3 ounces or less of meat. All right. If y'all want to understand what that looks like a deck of cards. All right. In the palm of your hand, a deck of cards. That's the recommended piece of meat. If not, use your meats mostly for flavoring. You can still use the meat. That means you can still use the little salt, meat, pork, whatever the flavor of your meat, but you're using it just for flavoring. Okay? The oils that we use red palm oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil. All right? So you stay in that range instead of in the other ones. These are more healthy for you. You guys need to research these things. Start using that. We use herbs, spices, and sauces as well. But we use these as more flavoring instead of the sodium. See, if you get back to using your herbs, your spices, and your sauces and get back to creating, cooking was not necessarily looked at as a duty. It was celebratory. It brought everybody together. It was a spiritual thing. It was a relational thing. It was everything all in one. So you have to add this in your food, then you can cut down on the sodium. Now we had seafood, and we had seafood and plant-based foods as often as possible. As often as possible. What does that mean? That means in the African diet, this is the most recommended way to eat. Seafood often, at least 2 times a week, and plant-based foods. What are plant-based foods? Plant-based foods are your collard greens, your beans, your peas, your peanuts, your nuts. It's your whole grains, right? It's your tubers, which is your squashes, right? So you got to get into all of that again and start making this particular section here the main course of the meal. Get back to eating them good greens and good black-eyed peas. That's what we used to eat. And just in case you wanted to know what kind of peas, it was black-eyed peas. All right? Go back to black-eyed peas. Go back to collard greens. Eat the kale. Eat the mustard greens. That's part of the tradition. Okay? It'll give you the nutrition that you need. All of this stuff right here is good in vitamin C, calcium, vitamin A, fiber, everything that the body needs. Okay? Especially when you're talking about dealing with all of the stuff we're dealing with over here. This diet counteracts all of that. Seafood been high in iron and in iodine. You know, so many of us are iron deficient and anemic. Right? So we got to understand our diet. And then we also had healthy lifestyle. And what does that consist of in the African diet? That consists of nutrition, relaxation, fellowship. It consists of music, dancing, exercising. Whatever we did, we brought over here, and we got to continue to do it. Continue to do it, especially those that are dealing with, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you can get this particular system, this model back into your lifestyle, and you can go back to dancing again, no matter how old you are. Go back to moving again. Go back to living again. But being a little bit more disciplined and committed to a model, to a style. You have 40, 50 million black Americans over here, right? You got 100 million South Americans. You got 20 to 30 million Caribbeans. All right? you got countless of Africans, at least 100 million plus. Okay, we have something to offer the society on how to live a healthy lifestyle, but yet also to how to change the health system by our way of living. And a lot of us don't believe that. But the African community today have an opportunity to seize the healthcare system and take it back into their own hands. And I'll say this again, I believe the future of medicine to be no medicine at all. If we learn how to eat, if we learn how to research again, read labels, find real food. You got to do it. You see what I'm saying? There are some of the things that this benefits, right? So when you boost your food flavors with the herbs and spices, then like I said, you take down the sodium. When you make vegetables the main thing, then a lot of this heart, that disease and diabetes tend to go away. When you use your meat as flavoring instead of it being the main course, then you stay away from all of this disease that come with all that antibiotic in your meat. Then when it's grass fed, they want to charge you $44 for some ground beef. So what you're going to have to do is understand that, first of all, you were not a carnivore. And I'm going to do another video on how our teeth are made, right? Our teeth are not made to be carnivores. We was made to eat fruit, vegetables, and nuts. All based on your mouth, you was made to eat fruit, vegetables, and nuts, okay? So we got to start understanding even how we were designed. Going back to our roots, using the herbs, the roots, the spices to enhance life and to enhance our children's life. And we need to pass down this knowledge, because this knowledge can not only help us, and not only has it helped us to this point, but it's going to help us to the next point. You got to see it coming already. There's so many health craves already out there. And people want to run to the Chinese traditional medicine. And I ain't got nothing against that. But don't you know, in China, 80% of Chinese are going to modern medicine. They're leaving their own traditional medicine, but we are running to it. But understand that in Africa, 80% of Africans or even more are using African traditional medicine. They're eating the traditional African diet as well. The things that we are dying from, they're not. And some of the most chronic of diseases, they're living off of. We're not. It's in the food. I suggest, like I said before, you grow your own food. Invest in gardening, people. It doesn't cost that much to learn how to put a pot behind your house and grow some tomatoes and some squash and some rosemary and some sage. Save you a whole lot of money. That's supposed to be the objective. But the point of it is this education that we cannot lose in our tradition or our heritage. A lot of us are divided based on religion. But one thing brings us together and should bring us together is that we should understand as black people, as African Americans, that we are all come from here. And this is your bio diet that is suited for you. And if health professionals will have something that is suited for you, don't you think you should be able to be treated with a little bit more speciality? Don't we understand that sometimes what's good for Peter ain't good for Paul? And we've been dying by the wayside because we did not understand our own biochemistry, our own makeup. What is good for us? What makes us stronger, last longer? Remember, this is a human race. What do we have to offer? What systems do we have to offer? What economic systems, what health systems do we have to combat what they offer? To not only enrich ourselves, but the lives of our neighbors as well. I believe African traditional medicine, and I believe the traditional African diet is suited for us, but African traditional medicine can help anybody, anywhere, at any time. So I hope you guys understand the benefits of health and herbs and the knowledge. And I hope you guys continue to tune in to the channel. Follow, like, subscribe. Understand the Sankofa movement is to take and go back and get what was lost. Turning a black American back into an African-minded individual. You don't have to go there. But of the mind set of your ancestors. We surely need some direction now. We have a lot of leaders, but no leader. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, and there's absolutely nothing you guys can do about it. Until next time. Peace.